I'm Sue. I've been at SEPS nearly 16 years and I love Antarctica for its wild spaces, its wildlife, which is as curious about you as you are about it, and it's just so indescribably beautiful for scale. From a very early age, my form teacher played tapes of Scott and Shackleton's expeditions, and it was obviously something that sunk into my psyche because I've always had a hankering to go there, and I've been lucky enough to have visited 4 times, and I would go tomorrow given the opportunity. People have different expectations, I would say. Some people it is their 7th continent. Some people it's all about the history, so they, like myself, have read up about Shackleton and Scott and sort of the early explorers and want to experience some of that. A lot of people it's just the wildlife and the sheer scale of it. They want to feel that you're very insignificant in scale and you definitely get that feeling when you're down in Antarctica. You can go kayaking, and if you're in a kayak you are so low to the water and penguins will porpoise up right next to you. I've had whales swim under a kayak because the water's crystal clear. You can just watch it go underneath you and it is mind-blowing. I would definitely say do a polar plunge. It's the only opportunity to do that sort of thing, so you really got to go for these things. Camping out on the ice is fantastic. Most people literally just camp in a bivvy bag, which means you can really experience the silence, but you hear the creaking of the glaciers, you hear the ice moving, you might hear penguin colonies in the distance, and you just lie there and take it all in. I love waking up in the morning with a crispy coating on the top of your sleeping bag. A lot of people will initially speak to me about the peninsula. I will always try and persuade them that it is worth doing the combination of the Falklands and South Georgia as well. If I had £1 for every time somebody's come back having just done the peninsula and said, I really have to go to South Georgia and the Falklands, I've heard so much about it. I think just standing still and watching a penguin colony do its own thing, and just they, as I say, they are very curious, so they'll quite often come up and have a look at you, check you out, and then just carry on, and they'll waddle on by and they'll nick each other's stones and they'll squabble, and they're just fascinating to watch, penguins. I've had penguins peck at my feet, I've had them peck at me as I walked past, or as they walked past me. Last time I was on South Georgia, I was videoing a fur seal and suddenly became aware that I was part of a group, and I was literally surrounded by a group of king penguins, and being not very tall, they were pretty much on my eye level. You can also go the far side of the peninsula, which is into the Weddell Sea, where they most recently found Shackleton's ship, and that's a place that you can go and experience the emperor penguins. If you've got a lot of time, you've got the Ross Sea region, which is where Scott and Shackleton's huts are. If I had my opportunity, I would desperately love to go to the Ross Sea region. Virtually all the trips that we now do offer citizen science, and I think that's a really interesting way of learning and also giving back. So you can do all sorts of things, from counting penguins, mapping clouds. There's the Happy Whale logger, and when you take pictures and you can upload your photos to Happy Whale, and they'll tell you where that whale's been sighted, and whales migrate massive distances, so you can see where they've been and gone, and you can keep tracking them as well. Water sampling, collecting phytoplankton, because the ships are going, although they don't go very regularly, they go a lot more regularly than a scientist can get themselves into those points, so they can get regular updates, so they can learn more about the destination and therefore protect it. They like you to come back as an ambassador for Antarctica, because unless there's ambassadors for these wonderful destinations in the world, then people aren't going to protect them. I guess by speaking to clients, you learn what their expectations are and what they like and what they don't like. And although the expeditions generally have quite set itineraries and certainly set departures, there are nuances between the different vessels and the style of the trip that you want. So whether it's slightly more active, slightly more academic, if you're very much into your sciences, there are sometimes extra specialist leaders. So we can certainly guide you as to make sure that you get the trip that's ideal for you. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe to stay up to date.